Are you looking for a dose of hope? Are you going around and seeing if you are eligible for this shot? If so, listen out. We have something very special for you. In this episode of Empowering Conversations, I am talking about a dose of hope that every one of you is eligible for. So go ahead, grab your cup of tea, and join me in this episode of Empowering Conversations. Hello and welcome to the Empowering Conversations podcast, a place to get inspired, challenged, and empowered by stories of immigrants who build their success from zero. I'm your host, Mehran. As I picked up our teen from school that Friday, I knew he wouldn't be going back for the next few weeks. There were rumors of lockdown. Many countries, including Iran, where I was born and raised, have been in lockdown, and we knew it would be the next step here as well. As Californians, we were in the state of emergency for almost 2 weeks, and there were limitations on the gatherings already. As an Iranian American, we had a sense that our new year would be a little different. Perhaps a little more lonely. Many Nowruz events were canceled or postponed indefinitely. We knew we had to stay home for a while, but most of us thought it would be temporary. And honestly, the scientist in me was relieved to have the family cooped up inside. We wanted no exposure to the virus. None. As an immigrant with limited family in the States, we were concerned. The first thought that crossed our mind was, what would happen to our teen in our absence? Who would take care of him? The thought was scary, and listening to the news was scarier. The virus could live on surfaces for up to 3 days. The infected individuals could transmit the virus for a long time without showing any symptoms. Once in the lungs, it could cause severe damage and kill in a matter of days. Worst part was that despite being a first world country, we were behind in many ways, doubting the science or lacking protective gear for ourselves and our first responders. We had many uninsured, and with the rate of obesity and diabetes, we knew we're going to be impacted severely. Do you remember that time? The tension, the stress, how we looked at Europe and Asia's death toll with wide eyes, worrying about the future of us and our families, both here and back home. Oh, how glad I am that it's behind us. It feels like it was a decade ago, when I'm only talking about March 13th of last year. As our teen hopped in the car excited, he said, "Mom, Miss Smith said the school will be closed next week. We have 1 extra week of vacation, and afterwards we will have our classes online. Are you excited that you will spend extra quality time with me?" "Yes, Mommy. I'm very happy for that." "But will you miss your friends?" "No, I will see them online." "But since it's technically our vacation, can I have 2 hours of screen time every day?" "It won't be vacation. You will go back to school." "No, I'm talking about next week, Mom." I said, "Yes, you can." He was thrilled. Staying 1 extra week at home with extra time on TV, iPad, PlayStation, and no bedtime? Oh my gosh, he was in heaven. To myself, I thought, what a wonderful world he lives in. This is when I was fearful of the uncertainty, lack of safety, impact of COVID, and the closings on my friends' businesses. My clients, the jobs they might lose, the financial insecurities they will experience, especially among the immigrant community who have no support from home. Given the level of stress they are under, how would they do under the added stress? But then I thought, it's going to be temporary. We can't do this for too long. Perhaps by May, June, and latest July, when the temperature rises, we will resume our normal lives. Plus, immigrants are skilled at this. Most have extra cash stashed somewhere, and things will be under control before they know it. With that thought, I drove to the nearest grocery store. As I moved between the aisles carelessly, I picked few items to be on the safe side. Many friends were stocking up already. Perhaps if I left it to my husband, he would do the same as well. But I thought about the people in Yemen, living off with so little, and I thought, we have plenty to eat. I thought about our pantry and the bottles of legumes and dried fruits. Those were food. And perhaps we can practice a little flexibility, and unless we don't have something, we shouldn't hoard. Because what if? What if someone was receiving their paycheck or food stamp the day I'm buying extra, and they need the gallon of milk more than I did, more than our family did? I don't know. I have this annoying level of EQ, and at times like this, it stops me from doing certain things. I could be very wrong, I don't know, but that's me. That day, Artina and I were laughing and chasing one another in the store as we shopped. Little did we know it would be our last maskless, careless grocery trip together. Little did we know that the next time we visit, we had to follow arrows and keep our physical distance with our masks on. And at home, wash and sanitize everything for a very long period of time. On March 19th, the California mandate was in order. Everyone had to stay home. Everyone except for essential workers. Few places were open. Grocery stores, hospitals, gas stations. Other than that, everywhere else was closed. The schools, parks, gyms, restaurants, salons, shops. The town was silent. The streets were empty. The spring air was extra clean. Pollution was low. There was a sense of calmness in the streets. But inside our homes, there was a panic, a shock caused by a major change. Many couldn't work. Money was tight. And if we were lucky to have a job, the way we worked changed dramatically. And so did the way we communicated with one another, the way we socialized, the way our children went to school, the way we planned for the future. We felt extremely lonely. The loss of family, friends, and community was huge. The change was so big that we almost felt we don't know how to live in this new environment. We had to learn everything quickly to survive, and it was stressful. All the stories we read online or heard from family and friends couldn't prepare us for the magnitude of change we experienced. And the worst part was that we didn't know how long it would take us to adjust. First it was going to be only 3 weeks. Do you remember? Then it was extended. It was extended over and over and over again. Now, it's been almost a year. Who could have imagined? Many of us worked from home while being extra engaged in our children's education, tried to cut down on unnecessary costs, worked a lot more, perhaps multiple jobs to make the ends meet, took more classes, read more books, learned new skills, improved our communication skills, while feeling an incredible level of loneliness as we were persisting through this huge transition. In a span of a year, we almost accepted a new norm, a more cumbersome lifestyle. Who could imagine? Who could imagine that for the safety of our children, our community, we would go through so much? No one. No one except for us immigrants. It was familiar. We had done it in the past. I mean, whether it was 6 months ago or 40 years ago, we went through the same process. And we had the scars and the muscles to prove it. We learned what doesn't kill us make us stronger. Let me repeat what I just said about a year ago, except this time, I want you to imagine the first days after you migrated. There was a sense of calmness in the streets, but inside our homes, there was a panic, a shock caused by a major change. Many couldn't work. Money was tight, and if you were lucky to have a job, the way we worked changed dramatically. So did the way we communicated with one another, the way we socialized, the way our children went to school, the way we planned for future. We felt extremely lonely. The loss of family, friends, and community was huge. The change was so big that we almost felt we didn't know how to live in this new environment. We had to learn everything quickly to survive, and it was stressful. All the stories we read online or heard from family and friends couldn't prepare us for the magnitude of change we experienced. And the worst part was that we didn't know how long it would take us to adjust. Oddly similar, huh? Except unlike COVID, there was no shot of hope to immune us. We had to build the immunity. But here's an insight. Because of the immunity we built through immigration process and the shock we had, unknowingly, we developed an advantage in enduring the conditions we faced, which prepared us for life during any difficulty, including COVID. And here are 10 reasons why. 1. We learned to stay positive even in the most dire situations in order to live the American dream. 2. We learned that life will continue and it is our choice to make the best of it. 3. We learned to not look back because when we did, the comparison stopped us from enjoying the moment. 4. We learned to practice gratitude, and in doing so, we learned to be happy with the little we had. 5. We learned to be patient because it took time to build something from zero. 6. We learned to persevere. In fact, that's one of the greatest hallmarks of us immigrants. 7. We learned to embrace uncertainty and risks because through risking what we were comfortable with, we were able to open new opportunities. 8. We learned to be flexible. And if something didn't work, we tried to work around it, never losing sight of our goal. 9. We learned to be frugal and independent and not rely on government, family, friends during difficult times. We learned to save money and live within our means. Wasn't this something critical during the pandemic? 10. We learned investing in education empowers us and our next generation. So we invest our time and money where the reward was. But in case you lost your momentum and feel a little hopeless, let me give you a suggestion. Fold a piece of paper. In one half, write all the pains, all the concerns, and all the worries you feel for a given situation. And on the other side of the paper, write about all the lessons that this change can teach you, all the opportunities that it can create for you. I know some of you lost loved ones. First, my deepest condolences to you. I believe nothing was harder than losing a loved one during the pandemic, especially for us immigrants coming from collective cultures. I remember when I left home, my biggest worry was losing my family while I'm away. And I know this was your biggest worry as well. And you had to feel it. I'm truly sorry. And I wish I had the magic wand to change it, but I can't. No one can. You will need time. You will need your community to heal. But as with any loss, there's a gain. Hasn't that loss changed the perspective you had in life? Didn't it help you realize how precious life is and how it can change in a matter of minutes and you have to enjoy every minute of it? Didn't it help you love deeper and forgive easier? If so, your loved ones gave you the biggest parting gift. Let's learn from that. Let's value our relationships and live in the moment, something many of us still struggle with. Now, if you lost your job, write all the difficulties you had to endure as a result of it on one side. All the resume writing, the application process, the networking, and of course, receiving that rejection letter. This is when you were hustling for an income. It's not easy. No, we know it. I know it. But on the other side, write how this could be the reason you go back to school and take those courses you've been meaning to take, or to make the pivot you always wanted to make, or even start your business. Think about how this loss provided you with opportunities to know new people and help them succeed, and in doing so, you expanded your network, your community, and your satisfaction in life. And while none of that is paying your rents, the investment in people and relationships will return multiple folds. And if you're a working parent enduring homeschooling your children, caring for little ones while working remotely, juggling many tasks, and you're under a lot of pressure, on one side, write all the pains you're feeling, and on the other, count down the number of days your children will be home. I mean, who are we kidding here? It's difficult to have rambunctious kids stuck in the house for an extended period of time and support them with their schoolwork, their social and emotional well-being while you are concerned about bringing food to the table. I know if you called me for an advice, I would say, think about the positive and how their presence is a blessing. But here, not knowing what you individually are going through, I prefer to not provide any suggestions because some of you simply get too frustrated with me as you did in the past. And regardless of what I say, you will be angry with me, writing me hate messages. So I say, hang in there. Take it lightly. It will be done soon. Of course, after everyone receives their shot of hope. As always, thank you for listening and reflecting with me. Just keep in mind, the worst is in the past, and all of us will move forward stronger, more determined, and more connected to our purposes in life. If this episode was helpful to you, please feel free to share it with your immigrant friends, with those who need an extra boost of energy. I would really appreciate if you write me a review and tell me what I missed. Connect with me on social media, and keep me posted on what I can do to improve. As you know, we just had a huge milestone, and I'm thankful for all the support you have provided me.